that the day is finally here, it's right before us. Alex, how are you going to spend your election day?
Crying.
Same.
Crying. Because I'm so happy that football's going to be here. Yeah! Welcome to Mac Football Forever. I'm Alex Alvarado. That's Caleb Carter on the other side of the internet screen, I guess. I don't know. I don't think there's like an other side. I just think you're elsewhere. But that's Caleb over there. What's up, Caleb?
We're off to asking philosophical questions. We're getting awfully deep for the day before Election Day. I thought we were here for brain rot and Mac football.
But first, in brief, we got a few things to go over. On the MAC level, we have some kickoff times that were moved around. A couple of teams are now getting the ESPN treatment. Next week, week 2, on Tuesday, Kent State and Bowling Green's moving from ESPNU to ESPN2. Kickoffs at 7:30. And on Wednesday, the 11th, Toledo at Western's moved from ESPN2 to ESPN. Still an 8 o'clock kick. No real takeaway here other than, cooler stations to be played on. That's all.
Yeah. You just, easily viewable. Easy to find on the TV. Obviously, you're going to camp in front and watch it, so, do that. As far as things happening right before the season, sure makes it an interesting time to see that there are already transfers going on, people entering the portal. NIU's losing another defensive back in an already thin group of defensive backs in Tyreek Henderson. He was one of the guys they talked up a lot over the course of the last 2 years. And just what he was showing in training and all of that, he was highly regarded as a recruit too. He's gone. Between just now and last year, you're looking at guys like Jalen McKee lost a transfer. You're looking at Antoine Walker, who was a starter, has lost a transfer. It's just one after another and after another. And NIU does have a lot of a really young defense, and something we'll talk about at another time, I'm sure. But for now, just another move before the season, and we'll try to do our best to talk about the implications of any transfers during what could be potentially weird season in terms of guys trying to figure out their eligibility and what their opportunities are going to be for the next few years, especially having a year forgiven. So what's up next, Alex?
Over in Ypsilanti, one of the cooler traditions that they do is honor the number 2 jersey after Demarius Reed, who, as many remember, was shot and killed when he was 20 years old in 2013. Eastern has continued on his legacy and his memory and, his love and passion for just being a human being first and foremost, and awesome teammate. They rotate the number 2 jersey, every year with Sergio Bailey in 2017, Blake Banham 2018. Last year was Matthew Sexton. This year, it's not going to be a receiver. It's going to be a tight end. Thomas Odukoye, team captain, some guy that everyone can rally around. He's not the biggest downfield threat. He only caught 3 passes in the past 2 years, and they were all last season. So I don't expect him to be just because he has the number 2 jersey, he's the guy to look out for downfield or, making all the one-handed grabs. It's not that. He's the number 2 jersey because he means a lot for the program. Also, they're doing a thing with number 0. Mikey Haney's going to wear it. He's only going to wear it for 1 week because every week it's going to go to a new defensive player. It's going to go to a new defensive player who pretty much earns it the week before. Mikey Haney, he's kind of a standout defensive tackle, had 40-something tackles his redshirt freshman year last year. He's going to be the starting bull, so a defensive end this year as a sophomore. So it'll be cool watching, guys earn the number 0 jersey on defense. The defense sucked years ago. Now it's pretty fun, and now it's got another fun thing to add to it.
EMU's got a lot of guys who could make an impact this year, a lot of guys that new names you might recognize, and another new name you might recognize in the conference. Somebody maybe I'm familiar with is Jonathan Jones over at Toledo. So he's a graduate transfer, he's going to play some linebacker and special teams. Ashley Bastock of the Toledo Blade wrote a little bit about what to expect from him. He was a really, really strong top 20, according to this, top 20 linebacker prospect. One of those guys who got the attention, was really high regarded going to Notre Dame. Hasn't really made a huge impact. Has a total of 16 total tackles in his career and 38 career games, but he has seen the field. So it's a way that, maybe Toledo ups its the type of caliber guys who one better caliber guy out there on special teams, and a guy who maybe takes reps at linebacker, maybe even like defensive end. I can only speak from without having seen him practice, but like looking at the size of the guy he is, they describe him as an explosive player. He's a big dude, so maybe there's one of the type of guys who makes an impact on a Toledo defense in a year where they could compete for the MAC title. So keep an eye out on Jonathan Jones, and Ashley Bastock from Toledo Blade wrote that story.
All right, so let's take a look at the Week 1 games. We're just going to do a quick preview of all these guys first, and then we'll make our picks at the end. We've got Buffalo at NIU, a repeat of the 2018 MAC championship game. They didn't play each other in 2019, did they?
They did not, no.
No, they did not. So that'll be fun. Western at Akron, Eastern at Kent, Ball State at Miami, Ohio at Central, Bowling Green at Toledo. You can see the whole schedule on the right side of the screen. Obviously, it hasn't changed since you started this video. So you can see the whole schedule there and see what times and what channel everything will be on. Caleb, what game do you want to start with first, and what kind of storyline should we be following in each of these?
Well, how about we start on Toledo BG, because even just for starters, the question of, is Bowling Green able to replicate what they did? They ended that losing streak last year, and doing it with now looking at this year with Matt McDonald and a team that should be better, but it's still going to be young at a lot of spots. You kind of wonder if BG can kind of bring it like they did a year ago, or is Toledo just so embarrassed about the way last year's game went that they trounced in Week 1? So I think that's a good starting place for where we're at. What are you thinking about how that type of matchup shapes up, especially for that game being at Toledo?
If I'm a Toledo player, there's no way I'm not any less prepared than I was a year ago at this point. I can from the outside, I can buy the idea that maybe these Toledo players might have got caught off guard. Maybe they got lazy. And it was definitely a tough battle all the way to the finish. But Bowling Green was very much there for the fight. Scott Loeffler did a hell of a job preparing a team that, by all accounts, probably shouldn't have been in there. And they come into it with, their second best quarterback, Grant Loy. He wasn't the guy that they wanted at quarterback, Bowling Green. It was Matt McDonald. And they came in and they won a very important rivalry game. And it means something not only to those two schools, but to the MAC as well, because it's a very prestigious rivalry game. So I'm glad that there's something there to change it up, because, if Toledo went on to win its 10th in a row, I feel it's going to keep on winning 10, 11, 12 games in a row. It at some point would have been pretty irrelevant. And that would be pretty sad for the MAC to lean on that as like its best rivalry game, right?
Yeah, I mean, you talk wagon wheel, and that's like the trophy that comes up. But Toledo BG has been a good rivalry game in the past. It's just it would suck so hard to not have it back. Yeah, it would suck so hard for them not to have it back, or not to have it back in a sense, and in a bad season for BG.
Yeah, and like they have to come in. If I'm a Bowling Green player too, I still have to come into this game, thinking that I still haven't earned anything. I might have beat Toledo last year, but I can at this point just look down on Toledo because I'm a Bowling Green player, right? I'm looking down on them like that team was nothing. I have to kind of respect Toledo more because they should be a little bit more prepared for us, a little bit more prepared for the Bowling Green you weren't expecting last year. And we're coming again this year. Caleb, right now I want you to check your DMs and open up the link that I just sent you.
Mm-hmm.
And on count of 3, we're both going to click play, okay? So this might be the funniest thing on the internet right now. That cheese he melted that cheese in a pan, but he didn't melt it good enough, so it was still kind of hard, and it didn't go well.
I can't not envision this going well at all. Is this like a metaphor for a team?
Isn't that the funniest goddamn thing you've ever seen in your life?
It's going in circles.
All right, so we're going to hit pause on that video, and we're going to scroll down to the second one. Now, he's trying this again. He knows what happened last time, and he doesn't want to repeat. And
what is he even trying at this point? Is this chicken?
Yeah.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
cheese fondue chicken. So it's not the best. It's not the prettiest fondue, but he realizes that, well, I mean, compared to last time, I mean, it's hot cheese, right? And I have to put it on the chicken, which is what I was going to do anyways. So I guess we're going to do it, and I'm going to like it, and you're going to sit here and watch it and enjoy the whole damn thing. That's my preview for Western Akron.
You know, I would say there are actual storylines to look into for the game.
Tell me about NIU Buffalo. Buffalo is, of course, going to be a really good defense. NIU, they're still kind of working things along on offense. But let's kind of flip the script a little bit. What's Buffalo's quarterback, the guy we don't really talk about at all, going to do against NIU's defense, which used to be a name brand, right?
Right. And if you're Buffalo, you have to hope going into this game that your offense is put together enough. And Kyle Ventries, assuming he's the starter again after what happened last year, that he is on good enough terms with his receivers and that the offense is built to the extent they can throw the ball around and balance it with Patterson and Marks. And that he just looks good. Because if he doesn't look good week one against an NIU defense that's ridiculously young and really only experienced at like the linebacker spots, there's no reason to expect that Buffalo's going to just have an offense that impresses anybody during the season, even with the running backs they have. So unless they're just shaking the rust off, if Buffalo doesn't have a good offensive performance week one, you would probably just immediately form a lot of doubts about what they're capable of doing during the season. And Miami probably becomes your easy going away MAC East favorite, unless you trust the S&P, as Alex pointed out to me earlier, which evidently has Ohio for some reason as the best team returning.
One thing I'm kind of looking for Buffalo's offense, whether it's Kyle Ventries or not at quarterback, I don't know if it's going to be Matt Myers. I'm ready for surprises. I'm ready to know if there's going to be any more playmakers that really, really step up at wide receiver. Because I know Antonio Nunn's returning, but I'm not excited about him. So I'm just kind of looking to see, if anybody's going to, be a spark plug for that offense. Because, it can't just be the quarterbacks or the running backs all the time. There have been games where, the running backs have been stopped and Buffalo's had to try to make first downs and third down conversions otherwise. So what's the answer going to be outside of the running back group on offense? Eastern is going to Kent State. Obviously, I already picked Eastern to win the title. They're going to go, actually, they're going to go 6-0. I kind of take back my previous predictions, Caleb. I'm sorry to do that now.
What is with you?
But they're going to start with a road victory at Kent State. I don't think we need to preview it now because I sort of spoiled the end.
I do think this is a good week to gauge kind of the aspect of, is Kent State overhyped, as Alex put in our notes? And I don't expect like a Kent State blowout this week, but I mean, this is the type of game you have to take care of business. And if you come in, play week one and don't play well, if you're Kent State, you still have to find a way to get out with a win if you're supposed to be taken seriously in the East. So if they lose that game, then the hype train just kind of goes away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I wonder, because one thing I'm kind of saying I kind of said with Buffalo, I wonder what more answers are going to be out of the wide receiver group. I know Isaiah McCoy, he's great. Dante Stephens had a pretty good season last year, if I believe. But they're kind of breaking in a bunch of new guys for Kent State. It's not because they're unproven; they're just breaking in new guys. They just lost a bunch. That's all. Kent State's going through some turnover. Can they withstand that? I mean, you've seen what they've been able to do. If they can catch lightning in a bottle, they can maximize their talent out of their speedsters. So, if they can get talent onto the field right away from some people that are unknown, we'll be talking about them later. Ohio CMU, that might actually be – I wonder if it might be the best game of the week. I don't know. I like something about this game. There's a lot of gotta prove from both sides here. A lot of gotta prove it. Both teams, they lose their quarterbacks from last year. Ohio's is one of the best in school history, if not the best in school history, but never made it to Detroit. Only beat Miami once out of the 3 times. Sorry to rub that in. CMU, hey, just a gritty program. We've covered them in the West preview, but what can we expect out of this What can we expect out of this?
One thing that sticks out right away is like you enter this game with both teams not necessarily, and this is me with only loose knowledge of Ohio's quarterback situation. As a fan, we don't really know for sure who's going to be the quarterback for either team to start the game, except because if David Moore all of a sudden gets clearance from the NCAA at the last second, maybe he could. Coach Jim McElwain's already gone on the record and said Daniel Richardson was going to be the starting quarterback and Ty Brock would play as the backup. David Morris, who McElwain's chosen quarterback was, didn't play last year, still seeking that clearance. The NCAA, Lord knows, who knows what the situation is there.
That kid can ball too, man. I was really impressed with him last year.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate that the NCAA can't figure that situation out. And, I mean, they're not even the only team waiting for like right now, Western Michigan's waiting on a running back from Michigan State too. So, they're still waiting till the last second, even in a year where they've had so much time to figure this out. Then Ohio, you're looking at Ohio, where Amani Rogers is the guy. He doesn't transfer. I can't imagine he transfers to Ohio without expecting to be the starter. But I mean, the depth chart list, it's Curtis Rourke or Amani Rogers. The social media accounts of both schools are hyping up their both quarterbacks in interviews and highlights and stuff. So you're looking at what is the identity of each of these teams without like a absolute certainty at quarterback. And it was already an interesting matchup to me and potentially the best matchup of the week without that knowledge, even if it was like we knew exactly what was going on there. So I think it would be even a little bit more interesting if it was at Ohio. But I think for now, even a game at Central Michigan, still no fans, could be a little bit of fun, could be one of those like barn burners, goes down to the last second, 32-31, 32-30 something stuff. We'll get into a prediction in a second.
I'm excited for Armani Rogers. I don't know how else to dice it up. I'm just kind of excited for him. Not because I think he'll be great. I just think, he presents a skill set that is unique, and I can't wait to see it. Don't know if it'll work. I just want to see it.
I want to see Ohio become like the best rushing team in college football, and if they are operating with the assumption that Rodgers is the guy, they're going to be one of the most run. I would think they'd be one of the most run-heavy teams in the FBS.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Last game on our list, Ball State is going to be at Miami, the defending Mid-American Conference champions. What can we realistically expect out of Ball State's offense? I mean, a lot of people love Ball State's offense, which is got to be why some people picked them to win the conference, right? But against Miami?
Ball State's a team like you look at them and you think they are talented and they can win games. And the more you look at them, the more you're like, okay, but where are their strengths exactly? Like they're strong in the secondary, the stuff we've gone over previously, Drew Plitt. But they're even capable of playing good games against good opponents, like beating the stuffing out of Toledo when they play on all facets of the game. But I mean, is Caleb Huntley, even coming off the second team All-MAC performance last year, do we think Ball State's gonna rise to the occasion? They scored a victory. They beat Miami last year, right? That was last week of the regular season.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's totally not out of the question. Ball State could march in, win.
Right, but I mean, that's not like last week of the season where Miami's fighting for fighting for the title game either. So
Ball State's it's weird. It's just, I mean, looking at what they've got, it seems like they're fully capable of beating anybody, and I still would not be surprised if they were 2-4 or 3-3. So what we can expect from Ball State is just kind of up in the air. I'm kind of up in the air about it. I mean, Miami, I'm more interested, I think, in if Miami looks like a championship caliber team right away.
Me too, yeah. I mean, but when you say that, I wonder, what do you specifically mean when you say that? Because I have my specifics in mind.
Like in looking like a championship caliber team?
Yes.
Yeah, so, I mean, showing that Gabbert, it took something resembling a strong step forward immediately. They obviously bring back the NFL caliber talent at some of the guys who opted out and then came back. And they, really strong secondary group, really strong defensive line, some good backers. So they shouldn't be opening up week one with a championship mindset and being able to, if they surrender like 30 points to Ball State week one, then that leaves that, in my mind, like that gives me a lot of question marks. Like they should be coming out flying to the football. They're at home, so they're in Oxford on CBS Sports Network. They know they're on TV. They're playing for the chance for recruits to see in a year where everything's uncertain. You're playing every game like you're trying to play championship football. So championship football has to be you go out there and you control the game. Even if, say, you only win by like 10 points, but you're in control. If Miami's losing control in a dogfight with Ball State or coming from behind, that's a result I'm thinking Miami doesn't look like they're playing championship football from the start.
I am looking to see if Brett Gabbert makes throws that I didn't realize he could make. If he starts impressing me with his arm and starts winning games by himself, I guess that's kind of a tall order. I shouldn't say it like that, but I digress. If Brett Gabbert just has an obvious development that, if he obviously took us like a step forward or two from last year, that'd be wonderful to see.
And Gabbert has some arm talent. You look at his stats, there's nothing that blows you away. He, like Marcus Childress, for both MAC Freshman of the Year, who had stats that weren't like they weren't world beaters, but he does have arm talent. You look at some of the throws he made to sidelines.
He's got a shotgun on him.
Yeah, he's got arm talent, and some of the throws he makes to the sideline, some of the throws he's capable of making. Another year working with this group of receivers, you should see that leap. If you see that leap, that's a championship level quarterback. You're asking somebody who's already been in those big moments. There should be no hesitation to pull the trigger. He should be in the system another year. So yeah, we should expect a step forward.
Caleb, it is time for us to wrap things up by making our picks for the week. I'm not much of a gambling guy. Are you? Are you much of a gambling guy? Do you do the spread stuff?
Not even remotely.
No? Why not?
Because I don't like it.
Well, it's good for you. You should try it.
No, that's not. No, literally, he's lying. Okay. Anyway.
Okay. Well, whenever you get your government money in, make sure you go to OddsShark. But we have to make our picks on here for free. We're not going to do the betting stuff. We're going to pick the winners. If you want to add anything else, go for it. I'm not going to stop you. Western Michigan at Akron. Western opens as 17-point favorites. It's going to be on ESPN3. Caleb, who's your pick?
Western.
Why?
Because they're going to win.
Well,
I mean, is it any more complicated than that? Akron, yeah. There's no reason to expect Akron to win. So
I really want to pick Akron, though.
Yeah, but you're weird.
Okay, but here's the thing. I want to be right about it.
Which is why you pick Western.
Damn it. All right, I'm picking Western then. Damn it. 6 o'clock kickoff on the plus. Eastern's going to be at Kent State. I'm just going to go with Eastern, of course, because of course.
I've got Kent State. I think it'll be a good game, or at least a very MACtion-y game, with some nonsense and some tomfoolery, and it'll be probably a fun watch, but it's going to be Golden Flashes.
Buffalo at NIU. Last time these guys met, it was a lot of fun. This time, Buffalo opens as 8-point favorites. I think Buffalo was favored when in the MAC championship game, weren't they? Felt like it was close to this.
They were favored. Buffalo only lost, 2 games that year heading into that MAC championship game, and NIU was 8-5 heading off 2 consecutive losses. In a lot of ways, Buffalo is looking at the upside of things right now, and NIU is just like, okay, we're scrounging. So this game, it's an easy pick for me, even Buffalo on the road. Buffalo gets it done just because NIU has to prove that they can play with as many freshmen in the starting lineup as they're going to have. They got to prove to me that they can beat somebody good before I ever am willing to pick them to beat somebody good. So even if I like their matchup in games upcoming, I would probably still pick against Northern until I saw them do it with the group they've got.
I'm with you there. I'm with Buffalo here. The defense is just going to be too good. And NIU is going to be, pretty young at O-line, right?
They'll be okay. They'll have, a senior starting center, and they'll have junior right tackle. But they do have a couple of freshmen who are going to see some major time on the offensive line.
Ball State at Miami. Miami opens as only a 3-point favorite. Crazy.
That's interesting.
Yeah, people really like Ball State, man. But
but I also don't think of Miami as the team when I even.
Oh no, Miami's not world beaters by any means.
Right, they're not the team that's going to beat you by 30 points unless they're just absolutely on it. So still for me, it's still an easy pick to beat for Miami, even though Ball State grabbed that game last year in garbage time of the regular season.
Right.
For me, I think Miami does take a step forward, at least in the level of play early in the season. So,
yeah, me too. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard because it's kind of hard not to take a step forward because, who were they playing last year? Ohio State, Cincinnati.
Oh, my God.
They love getting their asses kicked. Ohio at Central, 7 o'clock on the ESPN. Ohio opens as a 1-point favorite on the road. Basically a pick 'em. I, of course, am going to pick Ohio. And I don't, God. Central's good, though, man. Central's good. But if Ohio's if the Armani Rogers effect is as legit as we're kind of hoping it is, just for our guilty pleasures, our
For fun
sickos
factors,
pleasure.
yeah, sure.
Yeah. Oof. Ohio would be a good pick, but I'm going to go with Central here. Well coached group.
They're both well coached. They are.
And they get the job done at home too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think you should, if you're a betting person, unless you got some knowledge I don't know about, you should go Central here. They're returning West champs. They closed things out emphatically in the regular season last year. And Ohio's in a similar spot where they've got talent. I don't think they're the team that beats the defending West champion. So let's just go with Central for now and see if Ohio can prove everybody wrong.
The nightcap on ESPNU, Bowling Green, Toledo, Battle of I-75. Gotta watch it, but Toledo opens as 18-point favorites. Sounds a lot like last year. I am cautiously picking Toledo. I should be like, oh yeah, Toledo definitely. But I'm just that's how much last year's game is affecting me. I don't know how much it's going to affect the actual game, but that's how much it's affecting me as a viewer.
For me, I had that moment. I had that hesitation before I picked Toledo. And I think we're looking – I think the offense – I think Toledo's going to score points pretty much regardless this time around.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's no way that they just drop the ball completely offensively like they did last year against Bowling Green, especially at home. They have to want to prove something with that added motivation plus the way last season ended. If you can't get up for that and really make a statement to start the year, then you're really not in a good place as Toledo. So I think Rockets score some points. I think Mac McDonald does show up a little bit and gives BG a little shot in the arm offensively, but I think it's probably it's a game in it's like 41, 42, 27, 26, something like that.
All right, Caleb. Well, there we have it with our picks. Hell, it's the last time people are going to hear our voices and see what our computer screens look like, I guess, until game day.
Game day.
Game day. What are you excited to learn about? What are you excited to learn about this year?
But there's so much. I mean, every team has something. I mean, that's the beauty of this. Of sometimes in college football, it's so easy to know so many details. You're just overloaded with information about your team if you're a big Power 5 conference lover. As a MAC fan, you discover guys week one that are huge parts of teams that you knew nothing about, like just the day prior. And it happens every year. So for me, it's that. It's waiting for those freshmen who are going to make the impact immediately. Teams like Northern Illinois, BG, and Akron that could make the impact right away. For me, it's guys like Caleb LB at Western Michigan, waiting to see if he's the type of guy who is spectacular if he's just another MAC quarterback. And then whether guys like Drew Plitt, Dustin Crum can just set all kinds of aerial records of some sort for their school. Drew Plitt was on that type of trajectory last year before kind of just puttering out. And so now, in a lot of senses, I'm just interested in whether the guys we've already seen play good football can become spectacular players and whether some of these newbies that we've never heard of make an impact that makes it interesting every week. Those are the things I'm most interested in.